Hello, everybody. Welcome back from our audio-only absence. This is the Sesj podcast. I am your host, Raveheart. Here as always, my best friend, my partner in crime, my co-host, Taylor Surreal. How's it going, bud?
What's going on? I was trying to decide if I should do the ASMR intro
God.
this time or
Get ready for that, everybody. We're going to be doing color commentary for classic races in ASMR.
coming to you soon.
Taylor had to record during quiet hours last week and was, you know, got real ASMR vibes, you know, from some people on that episode. So we'll
It's my intimate voice.
yes. But the British Grand Prix,
Wowzers.
yeah. You know, we gave him shit because it was like, oh, what we wanted was we wanted a wet weather race, we wanted rain, and the UK wouldn't give it to us, but
Of course.
we got all of the we got all of the chaos, but none of the precipitation this week.
I'm fine with that.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. And we'll discuss this in a bit, but let's run down the finishing order. We had #blessed in P1. I'm not even gonna say his name. Charles Leclerc's P2. Valtteri Bottas, the Porridge Man, in P3. Lando Norris, P4. Daniel Ricciardo, P5. I'm happy to see Daniel Ricciardo get another solid race in. I think he's got that McLaren almost figured out. I could definitely be wrong about that, but you know,
Sure looks like it.
at least this race. Who knows? We'll see in Hungary. I don't know where in Hungary that race is taking place, but everybody only knows the two cities, Buda and Pest. So yeah, I'm assuming it's happening close to there. And for the fastest lap, we had a 1:28.617, and that was from Checo Perez. Just the vindictive, just the pettiness from Red Bull. It's like, you know what? You're going to get the win, Lewis, but you're not going to get that fastest lap. We're going to cost you that fucking point. Like, even if we basically have to be like, you know what? Checo, sorry, you're not finishing in the points this week. We need that fastest lap. Like, I think he was up to like P9 at one point, but then something happened. He dropped back, then he pitted, and yeah, the rest is history. But we have to celebrate I think we'll get into the Predictors Championship now, but we are celebrating the first of many firsts in this little challenge between the two of us. It was the first double goose egg. Whoopsie.
We had all the right players. We just didn't have them in the right spots.
Between the two of us, we had all the right people. Except for one, obviously. We both had Max winning, and once that was out the window, we were kind of fucked.
Immediately in the first lap.
Yeah, that was yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, dude, it was just like, I'm glad I put Danny Rick up there in P4, but God damn it! What like? God damn it! Hashtag blessed. I'm not gonna say it. Like I'm at that point. I have reached the level of anger at the person who holds P2 in the drivers' championship standings right now. That, like the state of Michigan, at least when I'm typing it out, Taylor can attest to this fact. I use the X emoji instead of the M. I don't refer to them by their actual name. That's how much I dislike them. And Lewis Hamilton's, he's not there yet, but it's getting close. I mean, like, he's never going to cost Ohio State a shot at a national championship, so I guess he can't ever really reach that level. But, I mean, given what he pulled off this weekend, I'm officially making this known now, as much as I hate to fucking say it. But, hey, Red Bull, here's the sponsor. I'm officially declaring myself a Max Verstappen fan. Let's fucking do this.
Red Bull, send us 2 orange jerseys immediately.
No. I want the hat from the early 2000s that you gave to all the fucking skateboard kids that looks like the Red Bull can. I want that hat. But in a snapback, high crown.
Bring it back.
Yeah, none of that fitted hat bullshit. Like, dude, I can't rock orange. I'll have the complexion for it. I'm way too pale for that shit.
Looking like a creamsicle.
Yeah. That just makes me think about Tom Brady, which, like, all right.
Don't go there.
I think we officially jump into the next topic. And quite literally, I have dedicated a full timer to this one. But this week's Golden Cock Award goes to, I'll say his name now, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Now, before we get started, I do want to say, I want to point this out to make it fucking clear from here on in. The racist bullshit that was thrown towards him is just that, bullshit. There's no place for it. We don't agree with it. And if you do, you can kindly take your views elsewhere because we don't fucking want you around here. Like, I know Taylor and I both wholeheartedly disagree with how pretty much everything went down with him at the race this weekend. But
absolutely,
there is no issue in finding fault with a person's actions. There is a ton wrong with just finding something wrong with the color of someone's skin. And yeah,
it was brought to my attention. Certain platforms were spewing this kind of crap more than others. But yeah, not tolerated in the least here. So we just had to make that clear.
And yeah, it's just bullshit. So yeah, fuck racism. I think that's a blanket statement that applies here. But now let's get on to Lewis Hamilton being a fucking douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, the Golden Cock Award is literally just for that fucking contrived flag stunt. Like,
yes. At the end. Like he did something. Like he beat somebody. He didn't beat anybody.
It's like you drove your only competition off the fucking road in the first lap, and you think that you're like, yeah, I did it. Like, don't get me wrong. Did it take a pretty good drive to fight back from, what was it, P4?
He might have gotten down that low.
P3 or
I know
P4.
Leclerc was in front of him for a bit.
Yeah, but it's the classic, Mercedes drop back early, but then run long on their tires, and then slowly reel them in. Happened to Max a couple times already this year. And it's happened to them in reverse from Red Bull. It's just like, dude, come on.
I don't even understand where people are coming from in comments saying that it was just race incidents, or race, just racing, or he had every right. He was like, what are you guys talking about? Did you watch the same race?
It's also different because it's like I won't say that there hasn't been times where people challenging for drivers' titles have come together in races, because it's happened.
Sure.
But this seemed just, and I don't know if it's just because, Mercedes have seemed so desperate at times against Red Bull, but this seemed like it was fucking on purpose. Like, I'm going to hold my line, whatever happens, happens.
And it almost looked like he intentionally, so he was coming around that corner, and it looked like he held up on the turning and kind of went straight a little bit for a part where he could have continued to turn. They would have not touched. They would have just gone right around the corner. He probably would have still lost the position.
Outside line, and he would have lost the position. So he just held that line, like basically expecting Max to go wide around him. But Max was like, nah, fuck no, it's my line. And it's basically they were playing a game of chicken, and they went, but...
And it technically was Max's, because Lewis was not, he never gained the P1 position over Max. He kind of came up alongside of him right there. He was never ahead of him. If anything, Max was still in front by like a half car length.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I hate to say it, but it kind of looked intentional.
But like the whole thing is like every time that has come up, Senna and Prost, Schumi and Villeneuve, like it's been at the first corner, the last race of the year. It's like it's all come down to the wire. And it's like, you know what? I'm still gonna have to win this race, but I'm gonna put you out literally as soon as I can. And whoever drives away at the end of it, congratulations, you're the champion. But this was, 5 corners in, one of the fastest corners on the circuit, where, yeah, it's just like...
I don't know who it was. I believe it was one of the guys from Red Bull was saying how everybody knows it's common knowledge not to go in between like that on that corner specifically. It's like everybody in the pits knows, the drivers know. It's a famous corner where you cannot do that, and he specifically did that on that corner to take him out.
And also did it to Leclerc later on in the race. He did the exact same thing twice, and like, yeah, there was a 10-second penalty, as a result of the first one, but it's like, where's his 10-second penalty for the second one?
Right.
That actually forced Leclerc off the road. Like,
some are protesting for they want him suspended for a race.
Like, look, I get it. The helmet Marco only has one eye. Like, right now, I only have one. But, like, look, even one-eyed people could see that shit was his fault. I was like, we're going to get to this in this week's big question. But, yeah, I don't think I by no means think that Helmet is wrong in wanting Lewis actually reprimanded for this shit. Because it's, what was it, like 53 G's of force going into that barrier when Max hit it? Like,
he hit it hard.
It's like, how the fuck do your bones not liquefy at that point? Like
he's a little bit banged up from it too.
Well, yeah, it's like he decided to become an F1 driver, not a pilot in the Dutch Air Force. Like injuries happen, but it's like still that one seemed like it could have been avoided. Purely had Lewis made a different and cooler-headed decision.
Right.
It's like you have beaten Red Bull. You've beaten the lone Red Bull on strategy multiple times already this year. What was the reason to push him off the road?
I guess we'll never know unless he opens up and talks about it or whatever. But I mean, it seems like he's been frustrated the whole season. He's been chasing Max every race. Every race at the beginning, it's them two in the 1, 2, 3 position, and he's fighting in that first lap to get by him to secure his place so he can just hang on. I think he's just. I think it was frustration.
To provide the pressure from behind to keep him at bay, but like
probably some anger. He's on his home turf now. Everybody in the stands was there to see him. He wanted to, I think, show out.
No, everyone in the crowd was not there to see him. Everyone in the crowd was there to see fucking George Russell. Like,
I don't know. I heard the stands when Lewis would go by, and it was insane.
Well, yeah, that's just because he was in the lead at the time. If you look at the ones from qualifying, when George put himself in Q3, that crowd went bananas. And more so than Lewis securing P1.
Well, then maybe he's angry about that, too. Maybe he's like, I'm in my hometown.
Well, it's like the British driver driving for the German team is on pole. That's never going to play well in the UK. The British racer racing for the historically British team, granted now under American ownership, but that doesn't really matter. George Russell in the Williams was always going to be the more sympathetic figure, I think, at Silverstone than Lewis was, but it's like, dude, you've won 7 world titles. Don't get butthurt about the fans not really liking you for that.
Ego.
It's like Tom Brady bombing at the White House today.
It's an ego thing. Lewis is not used to losing at all. And here he is just getting dogged by Max. I think he just was fed up. I don't know if it was a conscious decision, like I'm going to take him out of this race, or if it was kind of just like a, oops.
Whoopsie.
Oh, well.
Like,
whoops.
Yeah.
I don't think he went in thinking, like, how do I take him out of the race? How do I take him out of the race? I don't think that. I just think he saw an opportunity and might have, where he should have moved, or should have zigged, and he zagged. And, yeah. Messed up my predictors championship.
Sandler wasn't there to just come out of the stands and solve the issue on the podium. Just... But all right, if you got that Waterboy reference, leave a like in the comments, or leave a like and comment. Let us know that you too are a fan of Adam Sandler's brief cinematic mastery. But
people of culture.
Let's move on to the storylines for this week. I think Charles Leclerc's P2 is bigger news than is getting... Like, he won Driver of the Day, obviously, because he fucking deserved it, but... Is his P2 just a great drive by Charles, or has Ferrari finally gotten their shit together?
We're going to have to see about getting their shit together. I need to see more consistency over time to answer that. But it looked like the only reason I had picked him in my predictors championship to even be up in the selected few was because of how well he did in the sprint race. I saw that and I was like, for whatever reason, it seems like him and the track kind of get along. And I think he might have just had a good driving day.
it's like, and Carlos Sainz was P6. It's like they were both up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know why Sainz like was within DRS range of Ricciardo multiple times, but for whatever reason couldn't get the pass. But I don't know. I think the Scuderia might have something up their sleeve.
Oh, they always do. Can't count them out.
They're Italians. They're always cheating.
And if they're not cheating, they're trying to find out how to cheat.
Yeah, it's like
better.
It's like Ferrari. It's like if they spent as much time, like really developing their car and really trying to work out their shit, they wouldn't have to spend as much time and energy cheating. I think they just like doing that more.
Probably.
But speaking of cheating, they're gonna have to find a whole new way to do that next year because there's a new car. There's new regs coming out. So yeah, the new car reveal. You've obviously seen it. What do you think about it? Like, I've seen the renders on it, like that like Sean Bull and a few other people have done. He dropped a Lotus one on his account today that looked.
I saw that.
It's like, I guess the question this time is, you think the new regs will have the desired impact? And also, do you think we're going to see like any improvement in the look of cars this upcoming season? Like, because those new bodies look pretty clean. And if that's
yes.
like if that's the base, as I understand, like it looks like it's like an interpretation of the rules. It like teams could show up with a different looking car, but like that's kind of going to be the like, just the general look of it. But I don't know. I'm hoping we get something crazy.
I think it looks great. Of course, they're gonna mess with the wings and the splitters and everything like that. I would think so. Yeah, I think it's gonna look awesome.
The ground effect is where I think it's because that's the first time they've allowed it since they banned it back in the day when noted innovator Colin Chapman put it on his Lotus. But I think it will have an impact, but the teams that have any experience with it, i.e. the teams that have IndyCar tie-ins, so that'd be Haas and McLaren, for anybody listening. I think we're gonna see something interesting from them. It's like I hope Gene Haas doesn't sell out to Mazepin before those regs come into play and we get to see what an actual United States Formula One team is made of. And also get the Russian flag off the fucking livery. That shit looks like trash. You know, to quote Gunter Steiner, don't fuck me around, Gene. But, all right, let's move on to this week's big question. And that is, in the light of, you know, the Boogaloo at Cobb's Corner this weekend, do you think the penalty system in F1 needs to be reworked?
It's an interesting question. I don't have problems with it. Do I think that they need to pay a little more attention or be a little more strict with the penalties, especially in the first lap? Possibly. They've kind of been a little bit lax with it all season in the first lap. letting them kind of fight for positioning and whatnot, and not penalizing too much or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think they need to be a little bit more strict with it. What do you think?
See, I think it does need some kind of rework. Because it was like, Jess McFadden from Autosport. She put out a tweet like after the race. And was like, just a friendly reminder, like, penalties aren't determined by the outcome. They're determined by the infraction.
Interesting.
And my thought process is, in a sport like F1, where, I mean, like, it's not like, yes, racing is a lot safer than it used to be. All we have to do is look back to Romain Grosjean from, last year. And we can see that this shit is still dangerous. And people's lives can still be, cut short because of reckless, because of reckless driving. And it's like, to make a conscious decision in that moment, which could have resulted in severe injury to another competitor, like, the outcome has to factor in on some level.
Yeah, I did. I was unaware that that's how it was looked
at. That was just like something I saw like on Twitter. It was like that's why I think it needs to be reworked, because it's like
there needs to be some element. Some element of the outcome needs to be,
In football, a helmet-to-helmet hit, even regardless of whether or not it's, intentional or not. The reason why it's banned is because the outcome is never good.
Yeah, correct.
The whole point of penalties is to avoid those outcomes. But if you don't take the outcome into effect when you're determining the punishment, then there's really no meaningful deterrent. Or at least that's just how I see it. It's like, what other than like probably what the penalty points, what reason does Lewis have to not pull the same shit somewhere else later on in the season if he thinks he can get away with it?
Yeah, it's just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
He'll continue to do it most likely. I mean, that's just, or some other kind of things. Until they cut him, they suspend him for a race, or do something like that.
Basically, a race ban. That's really the only like meaningful like punishment that any driver could receive. It's like,
yeah, you can't find that guy. He's got infinite money. You can't find the team.
Even if he doesn't, like, because of the backing that F1 drivers have, his sponsors or the team, they'll pay it. Like,
write the check.
Or for seemingly half the grid, their dads will pay it. But like, my whole thing is like, if there's a racing incident like that where it's like kind of clear as fucking day to most people that was caused by you, I mean, I say dock the team's wind tunnel time at that point. Like,
that's not a bad one either. Attack him where it hurts the most. I mean,
like either hit him in, basically, hey, you have to reduce your budget by $3 million, because that's how much it's going to cost Red Bull to rebuild the car that you fucking wrecked. Like, that might be a little Hammurabi's code-ish for this, eye for an eye shit, but like, if your driver runs another dude off the road and they have to replace the whole car, y'all should have to pay for that shit. Like,
yeah, there should be something going on, or else what's stopping them for doing it in the future? Just 10-second slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it's like, and also
run it
it's
up.
like, the and like when your driver in that situation is Mercedes, like the race was red flagged almost immediately.
Yeah.
And Mercedes, while they were fighting this out, worked out the fact because like Lewis came over the radio and was like, "I have damage." I think it came out today that basically that would have been a guaranteed DNF had the race continued because basically the interior of the wheel that Lewis Hamilton hit Verstappen with was broken. So it's like, had the race kept going at full speed after that, that fucking wheel would just come flying off.
Well, he would have been screwed. He would have lost.
They were able to replace the wheel because of, the red flag.
Red flag.
It's like, not only when you break the rules, you get a slap on the wrist, but because you broke the rules and damaged your car in the process, you got to fix it. It's like, I know a lot of people say that FIA stands for Ferrari International Assistance, but we might want to include Mercedes in that somewhere. Because, like, this just feels like, not to get too far into the conspiracies, because don't worry, there is a Conspiracy Files video coming on this shit. It was just like, once Max was out, it didn't matter that the race had been red flagged. It didn't matter that Lewis was, down the order and, Charles was gonna start on the pole. He was gonna be leading the race, more or less. It was like, I got that sinking feeling in my chest, like Lewis is gonna win this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Lando comes through, basically everybody who needed to have a slow pit stop when their pit stops were going through had slow fucking pit stops. And Lewis was able to close the gap and win. I'm just like, the fuck?
Even Ferrari, I think. They took them they couldn't get the wheel on or something. Or
yeah, it was just like, was Toto Wolff running around like fucking Bugs Bunny tying knots in the fucking tubes of those wheel guns? Like, what the fuck was going on?
Toto Wolff is... Who's the guy from Star Wars we were talking about? The pod racer.
Oh, Sebulba?
Sebulba. Toto Wolff is Sebulba. Going around like pulling levers on people's cars that shouldn't be pulled and stuff. I saw that man, not to get sidetracked, I'm going to come back. I saw that man, the way who he really was in this race when he was complaining after the crash. And he's officially my least favorite person next to Lewis.
Yeah, like, the energy displayed by Toto in all those radio messages was like a valedictorian bitching out a teacher over an A-.
He's like, check your email. I just sent you the email of all the data.
And then Michael Massey's like, I don't check my email during the race.
He's like, well, I think you should because it's really great information.
I tweeted it out, but it's like, there's that was Michael Massey. Michael Massey was basically walking into that scenario like, the manager has already been informed of your complaint. I'm Michael, the assistant manager. How can I help you? And it's just like, I don't fucking get it. It's just like, does becoming an F1 team principal inherently turn you into a 14-year-old girl who is just extremely petty and vindictive?
Because there's strong possibility.
It's like, it's also like, I don't understand it's like, on one hand, they're all trying to skirt the rules and cheat as much as possible.
Right.
But then they're also all the biggest fucking narcs on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They will they will throw everybody else under the bus just to get an advantage, while they're still trying to cheat themselves. And it's just like,
exactly. I love this part about F1.
Like, you know those, like, how they have the F1 fans who can ask questions to the drivers and shit, like,
yes,
like in their media days? You and I need to try and do that, but with we just want to talk to Christian Horner or Toto Wolff. And now what we need to do is ask them when they're going to make out.
And then just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, hey, when are you guys going to make out? Then just hang up. Like,
they're like, well.
So yeah, I guess tune in next week to see if we manage to get on that media call. All right, everybody. This has been the Sesj debrief of the British Grand Prix. Please remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell us if you like what we're doing. But until next time, adios.